6 votes for Strongest and 4 votes for Picao.
Alright.
Yeah.
Diddley D is trying to vote for Neutrino. I'm afraid he's third. That's already determined.
Round begins in.
Alright, we're starting on Picava. Auto follow
G.
killer.
There we go.
Picava's getting the rocket spawn, not delaying Mega. Interesting. And already getting confronted with LG right here. By Strongest, who delayed his armor in favor of doing some damage there. They meet on rail as well. Picava's been putting his rockets into the wall there. Twice. I fear what that means for his aim. Oh. I thought he was gonna fall on his face there. Because we saw him through the X-ray. Getting real close. And now, here's the problem. Picava does not have timing of this armor. He sees that it's delayed. Oh, but he does know where his opponent's gonna come from. Misses it. Just under his feet. Don't get thrown off the map! Don't get thrown off the map! Anything but that! Strongest gets it with some clean rockets. And stacks right back up with armor. He's got all the weapons. Whereas Picava's got only a rocket launcher. And meeting on this Mega. Picava's got the position for it. He's actually going to be able to pick it up. Gets railed for it once. Gets railed for it twice. I called that early. I started my sentence certain that it would happen. Oh, flying in now. Because Strongest sure did take a lot of damage as well. In fact, Picava's got the higher stack here. No! Oh! Rockets his own face off of the rocket knockback. Strongest essentially made him rocket jump by putting a rocket directly under him with 90 damage. Oh man. He flies against the wall. Kills himself on his own rocket. Oh, then that goes awry as well. Oh man, 2 to -1. That's not how you want to start off a grand final. Strongest now camping the LG. Predicting something on rail. Prediction's not that wrong. We can see him down there.
Impressive. Netmaster.
Strongest in complete control now. Look at that stack difference. Mega's up. They both rail each other. Picava's on 10 health now. He's going to be able to stack up in that railgun room. But since the small armor hasn't spawned yet, that still means it's railable for a couple more seconds. Strongest, I'd like to see you aggress now. You know it's just gonna hide. Come on. You know it. I think it's possible that Strongest is already playing a much more passive game, where nothing can go wrong, because he's 3 frags up. Of course, you can't really be playing the timer yet this early, but to at least not take unnecessary risks, I believe, is the idea. Did he hear him? Sure looks like it. Ah. Picava was so deep in that right corner. That Strongest jumping past just didn't see. Turn his back to him. Oh, another one here. Neither of these players' rails have been that great right now. Actually, I say that, and then I check the stats, and it's 50% for Strongest. I take it back. Ooh, oh man, 15 health on Picava. As the Strongest was trying to push into point-blank range there with an LG. I think he was expecting Picava to back off. And then suddenly Picava was just in his face. And he had the wrong weapon in his hands. Making it 2-0, because he was on -1 earlier. Oh, no way out of this one, I want to say, but Strongest had some issues dropping down there. Does get it in the end, and not much damage taken in return. Oh! Too many weapon switches. Oh, the last rocket missed as well! He actually lost it. Strongest actually lost it. 1 too many weapon switches, and 1 really bad rocket miss at the end. And it's 3-1. Takes the Mega, gets rocketed really hard for it. I think he might have left the Mega there with less health than he started, but Strongest still can't push, just doesn't have the stack for it. Pikawa's now only 1 frag down. I'd like to point out he's got 12 cells of LG and no rocket. So he's not very well prepared for a close range fight right now. Makes his way over to rocket now in time to grab Mega after, but it gets stolen from Strongest. 2 really whiffed rockets, really bad rockets. Strongest takes his 2 frag lead right back. And immediately gets put down to 40 stack for it. Listening, he should be able to hear the armor being picked up in a moment. There it is. It's precise timing, and he can hear by direction and the jump pad his opponent is going to be on LG. He wants to steal Mega for it, but he really does not have much stack and dies just a moment before the Mega spawns. If he had managed to survive just a moment longer, he might have had a bigger chance to take it. Now instead Pikawa actually got that as well, strengthening his stack advantage. Slips between those 2 rockets. Yeah, I was about to say, Pikawa, it's too early to push. You didn't really do enough damage here. LG versus LG fight goes in Pikawa's favor. I believe he went into the fight with the strongest stack. The Mega, I was expecting it to turn it around. But I guess the rest can be chalked up to aim. Now they're both fairly low, but Pikawa gets the heavy armor. That is worth more than anything that Strongest can find on that side of the map. Stealing some bubbles. Just like how other players like to steal small armors, just stealing bubbles. He sure is not concerned about being loud. Pikawa making a lot of footstep noises there. Ooh! That second rail in the ankle. Very clean. Ooh! Yeah, Pikawa just doesn't want to push straight in these kinds of situations, and he missed that rail by just a hair. Decent use of Tri-Bolt. Forces Strongest to back off, let him have the armor. Oh, you don't want to jump into that. Oh, you don't want to get caught in the jump pad. That's a lot of damage that Strongest dealt right there. Off of one unfortunate movement from Pikawa. 1 rail remains for him. Doesn't even hit it. Has to run now, 21 health. Still railable. You heard the jump pad. Knows his opponent is up top. He's just trying to avoid him at all costs. He's got his ammo back, but 100 stack is not something worth fighting with. There he is. See him at the corner of your eye and get directed in the belly button, as I like to say. Perfectly centered. Now Pikawa coming out with a lot more aggression. I think he's aware it's 1.5 minutes and he's a frag down on a map. Running away for 1.5 minutes is absolutely an option. Confronted here on Mega. Strongest did more damage. By a little bit. I think the real stack difference comes from the Mega itself. But it's going to set Pikawa back a couple more seconds. Getting railed in the back is going to set him back as well. 1 minute remains for Pikawa to find this kill. If Strongest can get one, a 2 frag lead would probably be impossible to catch up with. Although I remind you, this is the first map in a best of 3. "45 seconds. Pikawa needs to find any way to push right now, despite slightly lower stack. Just any form of pushing. Strongest beginning to sneak. Gets found here. 1 rail. 30 seconds. The armor to stack him up. Oh, he doesn't have timing! He doesn't have timing! Strongest didn't know that he could have taken the heavy armor there. And now it's down to 42 stack. With 15 seconds. Stacking up in the railgun room. That makes a sound. Here's the rocket jump and knows how to avoid that fight. I think it's over. 5 seconds. Another rail. 90 stack. He's not railable.
You win.
That's it. 5-4. So, for anyone just tuning in, this is the grand final of the Rocket Jump Zone Classic Duel Cup. I believe it's technically the Duel Cup number 4 Beast. It is 1-0 in favor of Strongest in a best of 3 series. So this could be the last map that we see in the entire tournament. We're watching Picabo first with autofollow killer. So don't forget G.
Fight. Round begins.
And Strongest has edged out the first map, which is Molten Falls, by 5-4.
Fight.
Unbelievably closely. And as I said, I feel like that's all of Strongest wins. Strongest has come from the lower bracket, by the way. And he is now in the lead in this grand final. So we're starting our second map. Carver getting the spawn that gives him the better position, but the worse weapons. So he's running those right now. Faking out a rocket jump, see if he... Yes, Strongest fell for it, but he did grab the small armor just a moment before the rail hit, saving his life. Ah, not much there. The moment that Picabo wants to grab his Mega is the moment that Strongest jumps over to his armor. Very well timed. And also the fact that both items are roughly in sync now means no single player will most likely be able to take full control on the next cycle. Someone's gonna have to delay it before that happens. Very loud footsteps above him, he knows exactly what's going on. There's just no way to do damage. It looks like they're trying to take this slow again, like they were on Molten Falls. Oh. You watch the wrong direction one time and you immediately get lasered in the face. Garba expecting a rocket jump. Doesn't quite get it. Oh, they might meet in here. Ah, Strongest heard it. Strongest ear was paying enough attention to realize that Picard was running into that room from the other side and knows to just peek for a moment, try and hit a rail, which unfortunately he did not succeed in. And just immediately back out again. However, gets one rail out of that. He's got 2 rockets remaining. That's one of the reasons that he just went to the nailgun room. Because there's ammo in there. Now it's down to 1 already to get that armor. But he's got a massive, massive stack advantage here. Which is getting thinner by the second. Strongest is starting to hit some splash damage, some spam damage. Oh! That's never a nice confrontation to have, with one player sneaking and the other guy running right into him. They're both low now. The armor's up. Is he gonna watch it? Is he gonna be ready to rail him to death? Both railable. Alright, Picabo would rather play it safe. It's still 0-0. No one has to push right now. But I also think it's possible that 3 minutes might be the longest that we've gone into a map without the first frag falling. The teleporter, and thus knows that it's safe to drop down. Just going to continue playing it safe. From here, Picabo should be able to hear the armor being picked up in a moment. Just like that, heard that just fine. Topping up his stack. So, Strongest in complete control, but Picabo has as much stack as he's gonna get without taking a major item. Running in here, good rocket. Still behind on stack. And Strongest dropped down to the Mega there. I don't even think that Picabo heard that. He might only have timing of the armor. Which, if he wants to play for it, he has to do right now. I don't think he does. No, he does not. See, here's that Strongest is pushing in. Continues the plus back play. But he's not returning damage either. He's missing these important shots, and now he's getting pushed here. This might actually work out for Strongest. There it is. Picabo missing all the important shots and staying for a shot there that he could not afford to stay for. We're now halfway through the map, and Strongest is up 1-0, just like what he is in maps in this best of 3. So if he can bring this over the time or extend it, extend the lead, he will be our first classic duel champion. 5 minutes remain for Picabo to stop that from happening. Strongest has no rails. Been pushed back. Here's Railable. He's gonna have to cross this somehow. He did it safely, as Picabo was on the cooldown from the tribal. But control has just shifted. By trying to avoid him like that, Strongest gave away the items. And gets railed into the side. Looking the wrong way. But he knows exactly. This is the classic Blood Run play. As long as you have access to the rocket teleporter, you can keep running. As soon as someone chases you there, you take the teleporter, you dip into the Nergon room, where it's once more super hard to push you, which is why he's staying here right now. And then if anyone pushes you here, you go the opposite way. It's super, super hard to push it. And we know that Strongest is willing to play... I don't know if this is insulting, but I've heard it been called Russian style. You know, take any amount of lead and try to run with it over the timer. Of course, we've seen Neutrino in this cup, who has the exact opposite style. So clearly the stereotype is not completely correct, but Strongest seems to be in favor of it. As he's now got 3 minutes 20 seconds on the clock, hitting some good rails. Picabo gets the Mega though, kind of undoing that. 3 minutes 10 seconds now to try and get this over the time, with which a second frag would absolutely help. Getting LG'd on the drop down there. And Picabo's starting to miss his rails. All the really important ones. Yeah, look at that. Strongest just playing that good old rotation. Give him the old ZTN. Complete control to Picabo. Strongest has not challenged an item in what must have been at least 4 cycles by now. He's completely focused on running. I think his heart must be beating like absolute crazy. He's 2 minutes 30 seconds away from winning the whole tournament. And he's not looking to fight. He's looking to run. Getting caught out now. So much LG from Picabo. 70 stack, 30 stack. Last rocket used as well, but he gets out one more time through the teleporter. And the Nergon room has so many small items to stack up with. He's pretty much back to where he was. 2 minutes remain. Dawn of the final day, as Majora's Mask would call it. You can hear Picabo below him. Picabo cannot hear him. Playing completely silent. 1.5 minutes. 3 item cycles from now. The map will be over unless we get overtime. Picabo's put on the spot now. Just has to find any way of getting this kill at all costs. His tournament life depends on it. He went through the upper bracket. He was unbeaten up until last map. And now all of a sudden, Strongest is on the verge of pushing it out, which is 1-0
Unit warning.
Here's that. Knows to go the opposite way. That rocket did not work out. But Picaba not chasing the straight line there. Drop it down instead. 50 seconds. Oh, one really good rocket. Pretty much equals out the stacks there. Picaba faking out the jump pad sound. Then grabs the mega. That was the last mega he's probably going to go for. So the next one that spawns will be 4 seconds before the end of the match, before the end of the timer. Still trying. 110 stack on strongest. He's going back into the nailgun room, that room that is so historically hard to push, but Picaba wins it in a proper LG vs LG fight. We're tied up again. It's 1-1, 10 seconds to go. The 10 seconds are meaningless. It's really just overtime now. It's just sudden death. On this second map in the best of 3. Strongest won the first map. If Strongest wins it, he wins the tournament. If Picaba wins it, we see a third map. The next frag decides everything. We've had only 2 of those in 10 minutes. So we might sit here a while waiting for that one, as Strongest seems to be trying to continue that plus back game. Hoping that Picaba will make some kind of mistake. Starts dropping on an LG, but that rail worked out really well. Don't get railed now! Oh my god! That was such a risky rocket jump over there. Last rail used for Picaba. Gonna pick up more, never mind. It's healing up for... Oh, step 1, become unrailable. Step 2, care for your ammo. Step 1.5, avoid strongest. Maga's up. That Picaba has listened to both items now. Got his ammo. Got his timing. And if he grabs this small armor that's about to spawn here. Never mind. He'd rather set a trap. Or listen. Because Strongest is sneaking as well. In fact, that was a really good prediction. It was just a moment too early. Could have worked out. His armor's up now. They both know it. Ooh, that might have been... I'm not sure, that might have been too far away for Picaba to hear it. Mega up now, Strongest delaying it. He knows there's no rush. When his health is still overstaffed from the last Mega. Finds him on elbow.
Stopwatch.
Yeah, that's definitive proof that Picaba had timing. Finally stole an item. It's the first item he's taken in overtime, I think. Actually, I'm not entirely sure about that. But Control has just turned around. Strongest is back to his play in the nailgun room style. Trading a rail. That's overall better for Picaba as he entered the fight with more stack. Keep spamming that. Can work. Oh, here comes the LG fight. That was in favor of Strongest since Picaba took too long to switch weapons. I mean, it wasn't his fault, it was the Tribolt's fault. I can't believe he keeps going for these rocket jumps. Just one of these days, Strongest is just gonna hit a rail on the way over. Talk about hitting rails. It's available now, right now as well. Gonna have to predict either the teleporter or the rocket. He predicts the teleporter and that's wrong. It was wrong last time as well. But he does steal all the small items. It's going to be really good. So we're getting ready for the next heavy armor. Position-wise, this should go to Picaba. But they're both just playing super quiet, super slow. This is the tensest game we've had. In this tournament, possibly in all the tournaments we've had. Four minutes into overtime. About time for the next row of items. Strongest decides to push rather than collect them. But Picaba doesn't want to challenge for them either. He'd rather have the small items. 1, 2 good rockets! 3 good rockets! That's it! Picaba gets it! Strongest versus Picaba. This time, we're starting on Strongest. Press G, and this time they won't be able to play quite as slow. It's just impossible here. No rails either. Strongest waving his mouse around a lot. I imagine that there is some degree of nerves playing into this by now. The rockets weren't bad, but he had to hold his shot for so long as Picaba was flying through the air, while Picaba was constantly doing LG damage. Trying to predict the teleporter now. He's correct about the fact that Strongest was there. He's actually sneaking his way up to rocket now. Oh, that's more splash than I would have expected out of that corner. Kawa did a lot of switches there, trying to push it with LG now. There's the heavy armor taken, and there's enough bubbles on that side of the map that Strongest will be able to stack up. But they meet each other here in the nail gun room. Picaba on the back wall. Gotta watch out not to get rocketed to death. Pushing in once more with the LG. You saw how close that rocket went past his face just now. That was a proper Doppler effect style whoosh past his face. That saved Picaba's life. Look at that. He had 70 stack, grabbed Mega, and then the moment he grabbed Mega, got directed for it, was right back to 70 stack. Oh, he could have stayed on top of the pillar. He just got blasted up on top of the pillar. I would have loved to see him just dance around on top of it, because no human would ever expect that. But yeah, the refrag was successful. Strongest turned it into a 1-2. Now meeting him on LG. I believe Picaba has been putting the LG to much better use overall. Pikaba's been the one winning these LG versus LG fights, and he's been the one more willing to just push straight in with it. And right there, he actually manages to kite it to stay just outside of the LG range and continuously hit heavy machine gun, giving him a 2-frag lead. That's 3-1 in favor of Picaba. 3 minutes in, that's infinitely more frags than we had on Blood Run at this point. Ooh, that was a smart way to get rocket damage. It's just a more or less around the corner. No! One single prediction rocket for the kill. And he finds him off the spawn. Does he have enough stack to do it? 40 stack now, but vastly superior weaponry. And finds him again. I think Picaba did that on purpose. I think Picaba the refrag again. That worked out. It worked out just barely. 39 stack. Now a heavy armor and the bubbles to get him back up, so he's safe with his 1-frag lead. Looking to pick himself up a rocket launcher when convenient. He's got the bad stack still. They both went for it. It turned out to be a trade. I think that trade is overall in favor of Strongest, who gets the better respawn as well. Because I think looking at initial stacks as they entered that fight, it should have gone in Picaba's favor. So a trade was just about the best thing that Strongest could have hoped for. I think this is a much more worthy pace for a grand final. Much more heated. Oh, yeah. You're always concerned when you get blasted up against a corner, against a wall, or you lose control of your movement for a while, and are super easy to hit. Strongest with a massive stack advantage. He can push in with anything now. More or less a free kill. And he predicts the spawn perfectly! That was Flawless. That could not have been done any better. Well, I suppose he could have tried to steal the rocket launcher so that Picabo can't do as much damage back, but... yeah, that's a tiny detail. He knew exactly where to stand to force that spawn, to run in, and then he hit really well. He hit really well too. Oh, that rocket! I don't think it was direct. It certainly hurt. Still, the full control, the full map control from Strongest results in him having basically no way of possibly losing an LG vs LG fight, except for maybe this one, because he did enter this one with S. Never mind. He's got a killing spree medal. How many people can get a killing spree medal? 5 frags in a row without dying against Picaba. That's a 3 frag lead now. Strongest honoring his name, his username. But he won't be able to just play the timer for 4 minutes. Not on this map. Ooh. If he had dropped straight on the Mega, the rocket Picabo fired would have been a direct. So, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it was certainly good to land on a little bit of a railing there. Picabo escaping on just about 10 health. Strongest has to push it. Come on. If Strongest doesn't push this, he's miscounting stack. He's miscounting stack. That would have been your 6th kill in a row. It should have been. Still sees... wow! Wow, how did he... I can't even believe that he was so confident that Picabo would still be there waiting for the armor. Beautiful stuff. Picabo running away on 75 stack. I'm starting to fear that it's possible that this might be... I think, Champ, you were talking earlier about how Picabo is kind of an emotional player. I'm concerned that this might be tilt. That he's running in while out of control here. Look at that. That he's showing his face at items where he should not be showing his face. And now he's 5 frags behind for it. He went through the upper bracket. It's the first time we have a cup with no upper bracket advantage. But they both agreed to a best of 3. It was their choice. Ah, 12 health remaining for Strongest. Gonna stack himself up with these 2 bubbles and a Mega. 162. Picabo running in with a shotgun. Actually worked decently well because Strongest was just running out of LG ammo. I think otherwise it would have been a bad choice. Oh, that armor's not gonna save him. Picked it up on too low an amount of health. And now we're at 2 minutes with 7 frags lead. I think it's just about over. Oh! Hold that thought. It might be tilt and over-aggression, but Picabo's absolutely still capable of getting these kills. Then again, is he capable of getting 6 kills in 1.5 minutes? That's the bigger question. That's 1 kill every 15 seconds. On Corrupted Keep, I would say that is more possible than on other maps, but it's a very, 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 very tall task against Strongest.
Stopwatch.
I don't know if you've got time to be picking up items. I think you just gotta push with everything you've got now. That was really, really good actually. 5 frags to go, 1 minute. You have 12 seconds on average. And he's got the heavy armor. Strongest has the better stack here. And now he's got a rocket launcher. So pushing into close range might mean death. It will mean death! Just dodged that one! And the nail would have killed him as well if it had hit. 45 seconds. I think I'm just about ready to call it. I think this is just a sparring match at this point. Strongest wins the first ever Classic Duel Cup from Rocket Jump Zone. Out of the lower bracket. Out of the lower bracket. I want to see real quick who pushed him down in the first place. Strongest. That's right. Strongest went down in the very first round against Stone. That was the first match we casted. The round 1 game between Strongest and Stone. Picard calling GG's. 12-8.
You win.
12-8 in the end. Is the Cinderella story from the lower bracket. We can see he doesn't have to play slow. He doesn't have to play the timer. Strongest can win an aggressive map as well.